Time is hard to regain. So once you waste the time that you have, it is gone forever.
Even if you have righteous friends, even if you have good friends, don't waste your time with them, even if they're the best of people.
And it is very, very important for you as a Muslim to have an alone time with yourself so that you can think about your Lord and the activities of your soul.
You need to spend time with just yourself, rectifying your own actions, having your private righteous deeds, always having an entourage, always being with a lot of people, and you can't be by yourself. It will damage your iman.
And in order for you to do this, you need to seclude yourself from the distractions of this world. Once you do that, you will be so much happy and content, bi'idhnillah.
Muhammad ibn Ibrahim ibn al-Wazir al-Yamani rahimahullah has many beneficial books. He has a kitab called Rawd al-Basim fi ad-Dabb an Sunnati Abi al-Qasim. He said in the last stages of his life, he cut off from everybody. And he was living in Yemen, and he started to live in a place far from everybody. And he authored a book called Al-Uzlah. What does al-uzla mean? Seclusion. To seclude yourself from everybody else.
Now, because we want to make sure that each and every Muslim that is watching us today becomes successful, not just in Islam, but in any endeavor of their life, we've created this video where you are going to receive 5 crucial Islamic ways or methods to reset your mindset from negativity to positivity, which will actually play a pivotal role in your success. And the interesting part is that all these 5 methods or ways are based on the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Quran of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And so you can't miss this. Brothers and sisters in Islam, until when are you going to realize that you are distancing yourself from the mercy and the grace of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? Do you know that all the things that you think about, all the places that you go, all the people that you sit with, even all the things that you listen to are all factors that are actually causing the difficult life that you are facing? And the earlier you realize this reality, the earlier you can have a cure to this problem. But fear not, because we have a promise from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. He said in the Quran that إِنَّمَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that indeed after every hardship comes ease. So yes, after putting into practice all the 5 Islamic crucial rules that we are going to give to you today, you will be ready for the promise for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So let's dive in. Of course, in Islam, you cannot start an activity without consciously knowing what you are doing, which is why it is very important for you to make things clear to yourself about that which you will do. And a very simple way of doing that is to have a clear and reasonable intention, because the Prophet ﷺ said in a famous hadith that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that every action goes with an intention, and you cannot start this journey of resetting your mind if your heart has not intended of doing that. You see, brothers and sisters in Islam, there is a link between the heart and the brain, and what you think about could be different from what your heart would desire. That is why you can have someone sitting in an area where there is Quran audio being played, but will still put on his earphones to listen to music. This is because the heart's desire is different from what the brain is picking up. And so for starters, you need to keep your intentions clear and reasonable, because that is actually the foundation onto which all the other crucial 4 steps will stand on. So now that you have a clear intention, you need to build up that intention with action, because you can't intend to do something and then forget or don't do it. Once you intend to do something, you have to execute, because that will actually change the mentality of your brain. And if you continue in that order, you will see a shift from negative thought to positive thought. And that is the target that we are trying to get to, having that kind of mindset. So the second point that will help you to reset your mindset is to perform nafila. That is to perform 2 rakat after every obligatory prayers. Remember that we are trying to shift our thinking from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. So anything that is not normal to your system will actually trigger your brain action. And if you don't pray nafila and then you start doing that from today, your brain would have to readjust in order to understand why you are doing that, and it will trigger a response to your body. But over time, it will give in. And when that happens, then we are actually achieving our goals slowly. So it is very, very crucial or important to start doing something aside the normal activities that you do in order to trigger that brain activity. And after this brain activity has been achieved, then you are ready for the next step, who will actually help you build up your cognitive function. You see, we all have things that we listen to, things like music or nasheeds or even natural sounds. And these sounds, although gives our brain peace when we listen to them, can be so addictive. And when we don't get to listen to them, then we can't focus or we can't think right, which is very bad for someone who wants to shift his brain mindset from negativity to positivity. And let me tell you something, this brain is in our control, but the things that we feed it results in the brain now controlling our soul. And you don't want that to happen, because if that happens, then you will be doomed. So the third step that will actually help you to shift your brain from negative thought to positive thought is to try listening to the Quran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, I said that all the methods are based on the Sunnah and the Quran of Allah. So yes, it is important for your brain to actually be soaked in the verses for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than from music. But for this act, when you start, it will not be easy. But then again, remember, we are trying to shift your brain mindset. So keep right and push through. It will actually get to a point in time where you will only need the words for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you calm and increase you in iman. That is the goal that you are trying to achieve. And when that happens, you just have to continue with the last two steps, which are going to be equally important. Because there is a time where prayers of a servant are automatically answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are going to utilize this time to help our brain shift its ways of thinking from negative thought to positive thoughts. Now, remember that around this time, when people are asleep, you will be awake trying to build a conversation with your Lord, who is our God. And that time is during Tahajjud. It is a very important time for a believer, because around that time, prayers are easily answered. And for some days, when you start doing that, you will feel some pressure. But if you continue with the same thinking, you will be a beast at waking up for Tahajjud. And that will massively impact the way you think and your life. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we have provided to you 4 Islamic ways, but the last one is very, very important, because if the first point is the foundation to which all the other 4 points are standing on, then the last point is going to be the roofing. It is what will actually cover up what you have started, and it is that which will protect your brain from impurities in the environment that are trying to inflict more harm into your brain. This golden rule is istighfar. It is the only way you can actually protect yourself and others from the impurities of this dunya. So constantly saying istighfar will not only cover up your brain from impurities, but it will also shield your heart from bad habits. And once these 2 organs are protected, then the whole body will be at peace. And I strongly believe that when you implement all these methods and you have a clear intention, then you will actually succeed in shifting your mindset from negative thought to positive thought. And I know you will actually ask the question that after I reset or I shift my mindset from this to that, what is next? How am I going to quit the bad habit that has been bothering me for a very long time? Well, worry no more, because you have a solution and it is right here.